Hello everybody, Silas here. Just a little prologue before we get started. I was originally going to make this into a 2 or 3 part video, but then I decided I was going to do a full-length feature. That way it was just uninterrupted and you could see everything as it happened. And so if you don't have time to watch the whole thing now, my recommendation is that you split it into smaller pieces and you watch part of it, come back later and watch it, because there's a lot of really interesting stuff and you do not want to miss it. And with that, let's go ahead and get into the vlog. Good morning everybody, Silas back again today, and the time has finally come. We are going to clean out all this pile here behind me. I think there's about 110 cars or so that we're going to be crushing. There was 140 originally. I saved about 30 of them. Some of the ones I'm saving are still here actually, but there's a bunch of them I already took home. So anyway, we're going to fire the crusher up. Hopefully I can get it done today. I don't know that that's going to happen. It may take me 2 days to get all these crushed. Just kind of depends on how things go. And then also over that direction, there's a bunch of stuff over in the trees, but I've got some help here today to help pick that sort of stuff up. So I'm hoping we can get at least most of it done today. That way maybe just one more half day of crushing. For those that haven't been following my channel, that haven't been following this cleanup, these cars here were all in nice neat rows over here and then all through back there. And this has been a salvage yard for I don't remember how many years, but a long time, longer than I've been alive. And these cars are pretty well stripped out. There's not a whole lot left on them. I mean, there's just odds and ends stuff, and yeah, there might be a few pieces of chrome here and there, but it's all dinged up like that is over there. And so there's just nothing really good that's got high demand, high value, anything like that. And it's just all stuff that might sell for $20 sometime in the next 5 years. So it's not worth the time for me to haul this stuff clear home, because I'm quite a ways from home right now. But we went through and we saved a ton of stuff off of these vehicles, mainly for wall art. We cut these cab backs off. We've already taken home 3 trailer loads of small stuff like that. We saved doors, we saved noses, we saved bumpers and hoods, all sorts of small trinkets, you name it. We pulled all sorts of stuff off. So the straight front axles. And so we saved a lot of stuff off of these cars that would have gotten crushed if anybody else bought this place. And so please don't be upset watching these cars get crushed. If you're faint of heart, you may not even want to watch this video. But I think it's going to be pretty interesting. You don't get to see stuff like this happen very often anymore. So we're going to start crushing here in a minute. I'm going to let the crusher warm up. It hasn't been used in a while. I'll let that fluid circulate through it. But until then, I'm going to set some cars over there by that pile. And they're going to start throwing that in some cars so we can crush it. Also, I'm using the new mic today. So I can't really see it very good, but this is the new one I just bought. This is the top of the line Rode shotgun mic. It has a dead cat on it. I bought that as well. And so far I've been kind of sound testing it. It's very windy today and there is no wind distortion in this mic at all. So I am very impressed in it. They're over there stuffing that car. And the guy we bought the place from says he has a bunch of stuff over here in the building he wants to get rid of, just odds and end junk. So I'm going to set this body over there so he can throw some stuff in it. And now we're going to go ahead and start some crushing. I actually bought a tripod. That way I can set this camera up on that. And I'll do a mix of filming and time-lapse. And then I brought my GoPro and attached it up there on the windshield so I can get some point of view crushing. So it'll be kind of a mix of switching back and forth between those two. Probably won't do much more talking now for the rest of the day. But I'll put some music to it. And if there's something interesting I need to say, then I'll interject at that point. Well, that's 2 loads now. Crushed and stacked. I got all those there left, and then all the ones in the back there. So quite a few left. I think I'm gonna have more loads than I thought I was. I was counting on 4, probably 4, maybe 5 loads, but I think we might have closer to 6. And this is why I hate crushing old cars, is they're just so rusty. They just splatter and fall apart and make a gigantic mess. And then when they're stripped out like this, you got to put 4 or 5 in a bundle to make it heavy enough. These won't be super heavy loads, but oh well. And for those that haven't watched the previous vlogs, these are the ones I'm keeping. We've already hauled some home. Hauled home a really cool 8-passenger 47 Packard the other day. Hauled home a 56 or 5 Packard, I forget what it was. Here's a handful more here. There's even a Packard convertible. That one, my dad's here now, so I'm going to set that on his truck. He's going to take it back home. But yeah, these are the ones we're keeping. And there's a few over there underneath that tree that we're keeping as well. So they're not all getting crushed. If they had good wall art pieces, like slice the whole side off of them, or if they are more complete cars like these here, we're going to go ahead and spare their lives. It's a shame that car isn't more complete and in better condition. That's a rare mama right there. But it's missing the door, it's missing all the convertible parts, it's rusted out. Make a great parts car, or if somebody really wanted one of those, you could probably put that one back together, but you'd have to do some sort of resto mod or something like that, because doing that one original would just be really hard. And I think that's all the damage I'm going to do for today. Got about 5 loads there. Got 1 load left to crush, so I'll do it in the morning. But I only have about, I think there's 6, 7, 8, 9 cars there. And then I have 2 cars over there, so that's only 11 cars. And I'm going to need more than 11 cars to finish another load. So, it's looking like I may have to go ahead and knock some of these in the head that I was going to save. I'm thinking this one here, we'll go ahead and crush it. I got that 54 Mercury on the other side, I'll probably go ahead and crush it. I got a couple others. There's another Lark wagon. This one here is pretty well complete on the side, so I'll probably hang on to it to cut the sides off. But that other Lark wagon over yonder, I may go ahead and knock it in the head. I got 12 cars here, that's right. I got 12 cars here. So this would be 13, and that Mercury would be 14. That's probably still not going to be quite enough for a load. But we'll figure that out in the morning. We'll see you then. Threw one of the old 48 or 49 Packards on my trailer, and the old Lincoln Zephyr on Sean's trailer. We're going to run these home today. Good morning, everybody. Back out here again today. Gonna get this finished up today, finally. That's the plan anyway. As I mentioned yesterday, I'm actually short a few cars to finish that last load. And so I was going through the cars that I was gonna keep, and a few of those are gonna have to get crushed. And I picked up 4 of them to crush. And then the guy that has the shop next door over here came over, and he's got a Ford truck. Like a mid-70s Ford truck. He's actually got 2 of them, but one of them is all in pieces, and then he's got a tote full of iron. So I think I can spare 2 of these old cars in here, but 2 of them are going to have to go ahead and get cut up. I got them all stacked up along here. Now they're talking rain today, this afternoon or tonight, so that's going to be fun. This is going to turn to a mud pit again. But hopefully it doesn't rain as much as last time. Last time I think we got 2.5 inches of rain, so that's why it was so muddy in here and I couldn't do anything for a while. But if we just get a little bit of rain, it won't really matter. It kind of seems surreal to me. This will probably be the last time I ever crush cars here. Obviously it will be, because it's done. I just remember coming over here as a kid and crushing these cars. We didn't crush a whole lot of the old ones back then, but he had an impound yard. I've mentioned this in previous vlogs. But for those that haven't heard the previous vlogs, he used to have like an impound yard, and where they had wrecks and later model stuff around town would get brought in here, and it would get stored over here across the tracks. Kind of turn my camera around so you can see what I'm talking about a little bit better. But this area where we're at right now, all along here, would be all later model stuff. This is back in the mid 90s, late 90s or so, was when we used to come over here and crush cars. And then he had all of his old Studebakers back there. About from where that blue cab is on back was all solid Studebakers, and those railroad tracks that run through the middle of this property over here were not here at that point. Now this set of tracks has always been here, but he had some late model cars on the other side of it as well. And there was quite a few, so we'd come over here and we would crush about 75 to 100 cars every time we came over here. And every now and then he'd have us crush a couple old cars that were stripped out, but most of his Studebakers he never got rid of. So now I'm over here one last time. Back then I was just a little kid and I couldn't run the loader, my feet wouldn't reach the pedals. And the loader my dad had back then had a little shelf behind it where you put the hydraulic oil. And I would just ride on top of that shelf with my dad, and we'd be crushing cars. Usually the crusher was set up a little bit straighter, right about here, kind of where this bare patch of dirt is. And that's where we'd crush the cars at. And we'd clean this all out, and we'd stack the bundles up like this, and then load them on semis. So now I'm over here crushing it one last time. What I'm going to go ahead and do now is I'm going to gather up the last of the cars and get them all stacked up here by the crusher. That way I'm not having to drive all over the place. There's a bunch of junk up in the building we got to clean out, so I'm going to stuff a couple cars. So won't do any crushing right away. We're going to get the rest of these cars gathered up, stacked right here to where all I got to do is start the crusher up and go to town crushing them. And I do want to stage a photo. I have a photo of me when I was a little kid. My dad took one of the Studebakers that Vern was keeping, and he kind of set the loader facing into the crusher kind of like this here. And I was just that little kid, you know, sitting on that shelf or whatever you want to call it, behind the seat of the loader, peeking my head out. And that Studebaker's on the forks right in front of the crusher as if my dad was going to crush it. And so I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to grab one of these Studebakers and I'm going to position it like that, and I'm going to sit in the loader, and that way I can have the two pictures side by side. One of me when I was 5-6 years old, and one of me now when I'm 31 years old. These are the two here that have been marked for death. I'm going to go ahead and cut the nose off the wagon and cut the rear doors off the Mercury. That's the main pieces I wanted anyway, and that's all. The reason why we're saving the rear doors on the Mercury is because of those deals, I forget what they're called, that pop out, those kind of bubbles on the back doors. Guys take those and they cut them off, I guess, and they put them on other cars and make them look better, I guess. So we're just going to cut the rear doors off for now, take them home. I'll use the plasma cutter to clean them up later, and then we'll cut the nose off of this car as well. This old bed was back there in the trees. It's still in pretty good shape. It's an 8-foot bed. Those other ones we already saved are 6-foot beds. So we'll go ahead and hang on to this one too. It's already off. And like I say, it's not too rusty, just a little bit of rust. And it has one fender with it. Finally made it over here. We've been over there stuffing iron in cars. This is the neighbor's property here, and he came over last night and he asked me to get rid of this Ford truck here, that red Ford cab, and then that tote clear full of iron, and there's a couple rear ends been laying around. I already threw one in the back of this truck here. So we're getting all this cleaned up for him, get him a little bit of room, and that enables me to save a couple of the Studebakers that I was going to have to crush. right, we are ready. Got all the cars lined up here. We cut the front and rear axles out of that truck there. I guess those independent suspension front axles out of that 73 to 79 Ford truck. The guy that's buying all our Studebaker axles, he says those are really popular right now to make drop axles out of. So he bought those out of it, and then it had a 9-inch in the rear of it. And they're finishing up the wagon over there now, and the Mercury's ready to go. So we're gonna fire up the crusher, and we're gonna crush the last load of cars. before Mercury. Crushing is done. It's kind of a neat stack there. Bunches of neat cars. But they were all stripped to almost nothing left. I mean, there was a few odds and ends, little trinkets here and there, but Studebaker parts are always hard sells in the first place. And so when you have a part that's not perfect, it has blemishes, and it's not a super desirable part anyway, it might take you 10 years or more to sell it, so it just wasn't worth it to save it all. But we did save a lot of parts. I'll show those to you guys here in a minute. Right now I'm loading these up on our trailers so we can take them home. That in there, we're just going to slice the sides off of it. And this old Starlight, I'm saving it just because it's a Starlight. I crushed 2 of them. I wanted to save one of them just to put it out back in the trees at my place and just to look at it, show people how cool they are. Here's a view from the other side. I got 6 semi-loads altogether. Only issue is now, all the trucks I had lined up to come get these, they all canceled on me. So I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with them all. I'll figure something out. All these over here are ones that we're gonna hang on to and take them back home. Some of them, actually probably most of them, are just for wall art purposes. Those 2 cabs over there are pretty good, so I'll probably sell those for somebody to use. But none of these cars are fixable. I mean, you saw when I was crushing, they're just falling apart because they're so rusty. So most of these are going to get turned into wall art. We already hauled home, I think 3, maybe 4 trailer loads of wall art. We still have all this laying here on the ground. We saved all these front axles. There's a whole gigantic pile of bumpers over there. We took this truck bed here and we just packed it clear full of cab backs and doors, hoods, trunks, all sorts of wall art type stuff. We took several of these cars, the one that's on my trailer and this one here, and a few of those over there, and we just packed them clear full of small parts that we pulled off. Just all sorts of little odds and ends trinkets that were interesting or valuable that actually have a market and will sell. We have a little bit more wall art to pull off. We have that flatbed over there. We're going to stack all the front ends and bumpers on it later. We got several truck beds. That yellow truck bed's clear full of hubcaps. So we got quite a bit left over here to haul home. I figure there's going to be about, after we take those 2 home there's probably about 18, maybe 19 more trips over here of hauling stuff home. So it's going to take quite a while to get it finished up, and I'll film some of that as well. But I'm probably going to go ahead and finish this vlog out here. That old wagon under that lean-to is a Studebaker wagon, actually. And that's that. We are done. And that's the end of this video. If you guys enjoyed this style of video, it was a little bit longer, please let me know in the comments. I probably won't do these very often just because it is a ton of editing. All videos take a lot of editing, but this one just took a ton of editing to get done. But I don't mind doing them every now and then if you guys like them. So if you do, let me know. I've got trucks coming out today to load these up. Probably won't get them all out today. We'll get some done today and then we'll get the rest of them finished up tomorrow. And then I have all these cars back here. Those are what I have left to haul home. And then I've got all these bumpers and front ends and stuff like that. Got to get all that hauled home now. And so that's going to take a little bit of time. We loaded up one skid over here. You saw that one. And I've got another skid over there that's still empty, and we can stack all these axles and stuff like that on it. And then we're going to bring another skid back out on Monday to load up the rest of the doors and hoods and that sort of stuff. Makes it really handy. We can haul it home that way. So I'm going to let y'all go. And please consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't subscribed already. I think it's like 15% of my viewers are actually subscribed to my channel. So if you watch this and you enjoy it, please subscribe. And please like this video, please share it with your friends, that sort of stuff. Keep checking back. You just never know what I'm going to post next. You never know when I'm going to be doing a cleanup, whether I'm working at the yard, whether I'm out buying an old car somewhere, whether I'm out hiking around. You just never know what I'm going to do. So keep checking back, and make sure you turn on notifications for my channel and for YouTube. That way you're notified every time one of my videos posts. And with that, I'm going to let you all go, but remember to get out there and find an adventure. We'll see you next time.